Hey folks, Inclusive Mall Designs here, and this is part 2 of the Hobby Boss 135 scale Canadian Leopard 2A4 tank build. Now in the last video I said, this tank could be built over the weekend, and that would be true if you're building like the German version and you just want to throw it together and throw some paint over it. But not if you're doing the Canadian tank, definitely not, and definitely not if you're trying to do the Canadian version, correctly. I've learned in the last 4 days of how big of a project the 2A4 Canadian is going to be, especially if you're doing it correctly, or at least as correct as you possibly can. And the reason why I say that is because there's just not that much out there as far as, information and pictures go of the 2A4 Canadian. Maybe it's because, when we got them into Canada, they were used in training and then quickly upgraded to the 2A4Ms. I'm not too sure, why exactly, but there's just not that many pictures out there. But I did manage to find enough to get me going on the build itself. But I quickly realized that this was going to be a pretty big build, and but I'm going to take it on, and I think we're going to be able to do it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But the reason why I left the 2A4M box in the shot is because you are going to need this model to build a proper 2A4 Canadian tank. And I'm going to show you why here. So usually I don't show the instructions too much when I build, just because it gets really boring, but you're going to need to see this to understand. So when you see green parts on the gray kit, the green parts are from the 2A4M kit, that one there. The gray parts are for that kit. So to make this truly Canadian for the 2A4 kit, you're going to need those hooks here. So use 2A4M kit parts, which are on there. And of course, I consulted my reference photos, many of them that I had on the hull of the tank. Unfortunately, there's not much of the turret, especially the top of the turret, but we'll get into that. And those are correct, because if you use the ones for the 2A4 kit, the German ones are just too big, so they're not accurate. And of course, you got those plate cover there, those green big plate covers right here. Those don't even come with the 2A4 kit at all. So you say use 2A4M plate covers B12 and B13. So you don't even get those with the 2A4 kit. So the only option is to take from that kit. And I know some of you are probably saying, well, I'm not going to sacrifice my 2A4M kit just to get, those. Stand by. You're going to see in a minute what I mean by needing this kit. So moving on, there might be some more with the hull later, but we're not there yet. Moving on to the main gun, says remove and drill. That's with a question mark. This is optional. I did go ahead and do it. That's completely optional. I think it looks better having them drilled out. I might add the chain and plugs hanging. I'll probably end up doing that. Just adds more detail. And if you see the gun sight at the end, that should actually be turned to the side. If you look here, it's turned to the side. Same thing here. It's turned to the side. We'll see if I do that. That could potentially wreck the barrel, but it might not take much from cutting the barrel and then turning it to the side. But again, I thought I should show you that. We did that. And then here I made a note, make better ones, question mark. The ones that come with the kit, these are just the clear parts. They're not the best. I might make better ones. Now, moving on to the turret. Now this is where it gets very, very interesting. Whammo. I had to completely graft on the rear of the turret of the 2A4M kit on to my 2A4 kit. And the only picture I could find was actually taking a snapshot off a YouTube video of a 2A4 kit Canadian rolling down the street from a Stampede parade. Right? Now, this is a 2A4 kit, or sorry, tank, not a kit. This is a real one. It was actually rolling down the street, so I actually seen it coming from the front, but you can actually tell anyway by the whole front. This is the only picture on the internet that I could ever find of the top of this turret. That's it. And that is as close as I can get. Let's see if I can even turn it around here. So the one that comes with the kit of the 2A4 is nowhere close. Nowhere close. As you can see, this is the kit part we had, and we started building in part 1, right? So I completely omitted that wall we built right here, completely cut it out. And then of course the whole green section I had to cut, you know, the bottom part of the turret, as you can see the cut line. Now obviously this is pretty intense. You are potentially wrecking, well, you are wrecking 2 kits now. I don't know how far you want to go with this, but if you want to make an accurate 2A4 Canadian, you will have to do this. There's no other way around it. So as you can see, it said replace with 2A4M rear, cutting it completely out. Other things you want to do is use Legend one from the Legend set. You're just basically, you know, using that one there instead of the kit one. The kit one is nice, but the Legend one is nicer. Same thing with the ring right here, the turret ring. You want to use B7. This is a kit part. As you can see, it's in gray. There's 2 to choose from. There's one with it's like a grooved ring, and then there's a soft, like there's no grooves in this one. So use this one here. Use B7, and I marked it down there, B7. But the big thing is using this. You could use, going back to the ring, you could use the one from the 2A4M kit. I'm just putting this piece back on just for a second. The 2A4M kit has the proper ring, but they have this piece here to mount your C6 gun, but they have this piece mounted right there. Like it's molded in, and this one here is from the Legend kit. But so at least if you use the Legend kit one, you can mount your machine gun anywhere you want. So I decided to go with the kit ring. That way I can mount the machine gun anywhere I want. So that's why I went with the kit one, or like the 2A4 one instead of the 2A4M ring, because some modification of this ring is necessary. It doesn't quite line up, so you will have to modify this ring on the bottom where the pegs are to make this one fit, which is an easy thing to do, just because I wanted to be able to mount that machine gun mount anywhere I wanted instead of having it up front. But the big thing is for this the turret piece, and that's the only picture I can find. And then a few other things you need to do is these baskets here, I'm calling them baskets. You had to take these from the 2A4M kit as well. Now they do have these grooved things here, which I'll cover up with bags or something, because this doesn't exist. Right there, there's little parts here and here that need to go on, and those pieces here, can't really see them, come from the 2A4M kit, but we'll get into those in a later video. But these things here don't exist on the 2A4, and we'll cover that up with like a backpack or something, but parts on that piece here will go. So these baskets come from the 2A4 kit, 2A4M kit, I'm sorry, and they fit on like that. So already you are using a ton of parts from the 2A4M kit. Now you know what I mean by needing that kit already. I mean, we're going to be using some of these antenna poles as well. Right? So lots already. I know this is a long video, but there's so much to cover, right? So lots already we're using, but it's up to you if you want to attempt grafting such a large part onto your turret. But it has worked out. I mean, as you can see, I used a little bit of putty, things like that, just to make it smooth. But once we get the primer and paint all over top of it and whatnot, it's going to look great. But very happy with the turnout so far. Definitely like to hear your comments on this and let me know how you think the Canadian 2A4 is turning out. But that's the progress thus far anyway. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe as always. And I'd like to hear from you. Thanks so much. Bye.